Yes, another edition of It's Still Real to Me, always brought to us by Anidjar and Levine. Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733, title sponsor of everything Zaslow Show 2.0, including our pro wrestling podcast, It's Still Real to Me, as our pal Joey Levine joins us here this morning. We got a lot to catch up on, all the big stories from the week. Joey, good morning. Hello. Are you ready to recap last night, another edition of AEW Collision, which I got to tell you, maybe against all odds, I don't know. Collision's been a good show the first, 4 or 5 weeks that it's been on the air.
Collision continues to make the case for being the best AEW show.
Yeah.
It's been really good. It sucks that it's on Saturday night, although for me right now, I'm not going anywhere. So I'm good. I can watch it. It's very good right now.
So one thing I do want to say, so let's just start with AEW. So one thing I do want to say, and we've talked about this before, I don't think AEW does the best job in promotion, where I had no idea Battle of the Belts was last night. Was I supposed to know that? Like, did I miss that? Or am I not paying good enough attention?
I think it's a couple reasons. I mean, I think they promoted it a little on social media, and I think they promoted it on Dynamite, but also, like, why have an event like Battle of the Belts with 3 title matches that have no chance of changing hands? Like, they probably didn't promote it because the matches weren't good or like compelling. It was like just like Collision had the compelling stuff. Yeah. It was just like an extra hour of wrestling.
Yeah. So last night with Battle of the Belts, so you had Orange Cassidy retain, and I guess I didn't see it. Something happened with the Tony Storm Taya Valkyrie match. Like,
I stopped watching. I wasn't interested because I just knew, like, none of the, like, I know that matches a lot of times, like, what's going to happen, but at least there's like a way to push a storyline or change things. With these, it's like a title match. There should be some type of, like, will they or won't they? And as soon as I saw what the card was, I was like, I'm not watching this.
Can I ask real quick? I don't recall Taya Valkyrie winning a single match since she's gotten to AEW, but she continues to get to fight for championships.
I think she's won some squash matches, but not any, like, important matches.
Why does she get to continue fighting for championships? She fought Jade Cargill several times. Then she fought Chris Statlander after she won the championship. And last night she fights Tony Storm. Like, why does she get to keep fighting for championships?
Last night, I think, was because is she from Calgary or nearby Calgary? I think maybe why. I know she's Canadian, so
it's weird, man.
Yeah, she, when she got to AEW, I thought it was a pretty big deal. I mean, she's a relatively big name in women's wrestling, so I thought they would do more with her. Maybe they're just trying. Maybe they're trying.
All right, so I want to start out with Collision from last night. And of course, I think I didn't see the tag team match, which I'm sure was awesome. 2 out of 3 falls, right? FTR.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't watched it yet. I got home late last night, and I wanted to make sure I watched Ricky Starks and CM Punk.
I got to tell you, the first ever Revolution, Kenny Omega and Hangman versus the Young Bucks, is one of the best tag team matches I've ever seen, and hands down, I thought the best tag match they've ever done in AEW. Last night might be better.
Really? Why was it so good?
I mean, it was 58 minutes, first of all.
Oh, right, because it's 2 out of 3 falls. Okay.
Because it was 2 out of 3 falls. And it was just...
You didn't find yourself getting bored at all? Like, it was all
No,
good?
It was compelling the whole time. I was convinced that Bullet Club was winning that thing.
Yeah.
Like, they wrote me in, man. There was false finishes. Like, Jay White and Juice Robinson must have kicked out at 2 like 7 or 8 times before. Like, there was, like... They were telling the story of FTR almost getting frustrated with each other because they couldn't get a finish. Like, Bullet Club Gold got the first fall, and then FTR just couldn't figure out a way to get it done. And the whole story was like, man, maybe Bullet Club Gold is just that good. And they finally were able to, like, get it done and with like 2 minutes left on the clock. It was a 60-minute time limit.
Oh, okay.
It was really, really, really good.
So I was super interested. Yeah.
Oh, and what I thought was very interesting about it was all of that, and they protected, like, Juice Robinson took both the falls, and Jay White got the pin on FTR, which I thought was an interesting thing because ultimately Jay White's a star. He's a singles title guy. He's former IWGP champion, but I thought it was interesting with all of that, the way they were able to still keep him looking relatively unscathed coming out of it because Juice Robinson took both the pins.
So I was really interested in CM Punk and Ricky Starks because really, once we got the semifinals, I was pretty sure Ricky Starks is winning this tournament. Or at least I was hoping that Ricky Starks was going to win the tournament. It's like, man, Punk came back and they're just going to totally cater to him. And then he's going to go ahead and he's going to win the Owen Hart tournament. I really hope Ricky Starks wins it. I think Ricky Starks is going to win it. So I was glad last night that Ricky Starks won. The match was great. I was glad Ricky Starks won it, but I hated the finish. I hated the way he won. I hated that it was with cheating, that it's with holding the rope. I mean, Joey, they crowned the winner of the Owen Hart tournament with like a semi-controversial finish. Like Ricky Starks just couldn't win a good match to then win the tournament. It had to be kind of, marred by this controversy, which, by the way, and I don't know if I brought this up recently, but a major pet peeve of mine with AEW is I think the officiating is horrible. I think their officials are horrendous. And last night, it's actually funny. The one official that I don't think is bad is Aubrey. I think Aubrey happens to be very, very good. The other ones I think are awful. And last night,
I always thought Rick Knox was pretty good, but I don't feel like I see him.
Which one is he? Is he the bald one?
He's the older one. Well, there's two. Bryce Remsburg is the little shorter, younger.
I know, but I'm thinking about the older bald one.
Rick Knox is the older guy, but I feel like I haven't seen him in a while. Maybe
not, because I feel like he used to be the head official, and he's not anymore. So maybe he's not around so much anymore because he's not the head official anymore.
Because he was always pretty good, but I guess I don't know if he's around.
Their officiating is horrendous. And it really bothered me last night, the finish of Ricky Starks and CM Punk. Besides that, I hated the tournament ending like that. I mean, God forbid Punk loses clean, God forbid. And the referee counts the 3, and he totally sees Ricky Starks with his arm holding the rope. Clear as day sees it, so much so that he essentially acknowledges it. Like he points at the rope, and then he's like asking CM Punk, 3? Was it 3? Why are you asking CM Punk? You're the referee. But he straight up saw Ricky Starks holding the rope. He even pointed at Ricky Starks having held the rope, and he's just standing there like an idiot. It ruined the finish of the match for me, man. I didn't like it.
Is that totally on the ref? Is there any part of that that's on Punk?
No, I think it's on the ref. You know that he's going to be grabbing the rope. Make sure you don't make sure you don't look at it. Right. He knows that. He knows what the finish is, and he straight up stared right at it and then pointed at the rope. And so he's standing in the ring looking confused while confetti's coming down. Come on. That sucks, man. And it's not an isolated incident. Like, dude, how many times are we watching AEW matches and you got the false finishes and like the referee counts 3 because, maybe partially the wrestler's fault where he didn't get the shoulder up in time, but that shit happens all the time with false finishes in AEW. I hate that, man. It really bothers me.
I didn't really think about that part of it because I didn't really pick up on that. But I got to tell you this. I like the ending. I don't necessarily. I agree with you. The ref fucked up. I didn't really pick up on it as intuitively as you did, but I don't mind. I don't mind it because I think they're turning Ricky Starks heel. It's the Owen Hart Classic. Owen Hart was an incredible heel. Owen Hart would have cheated to win. So why can't Ricky Starks cheat to win? Then he runs down the ramp, grabs the trophy from Jushin Thunder Liger and doesn't acknowledge him and just holds it up and walks away. Doesn't shake Jushin Thunder Liger's hand.
That's funny.
Like, it looks like they're turning Ricky Starks heel. So I actually didn't really mind it. The weird thing about it is that I feel like Punk should be the heel because people don't really like Punk anymore, or it's like kind of split. But Ricky Starks is a great heel. So I actually didn't mind the finish, but I didn't pick up on the referee part.
Yeah, that's something like it ruined it for me. It really did. And it's been a hang up of mine for a while with the officiating in AEW. Like I think the officiating, and maybe just because there's such a high standard from watching WWE all these years, because man, like WWE referees are super polished. Like you don't, there are no mistakes practically being made.
But now here's another thing I'll point out to you. If there are mistakes being made, WWE's production doesn't put it on TV. And that's part of it too. So I would actually blame a little bit on AEW because WWE would find a different angle. and not make it so blatantly obvious that the referee fucked up and saw.
Like I'm watching him confused in the ring while there's streamers raining down.
But that's what I'm saying. Like but WWE has 50 cameras. AEW's got a lot of cameras too, and WWE would have found a way to get a different view so that it doesn't make it so obvious.
Yeah. So,
but can I tell you my favorite part of that?
Yeah.
The end is that it's over, and we could not hear about this tournament now. I mean, I got to tell you, Zaz, I just felt weird. The Collision was a great show, but man, I mean, Bret Hart. The whole show, all they talked about was Bret Hart and Owen Hart. And I get it's the Owen Hart Classic and they're in Calgary, but like everything FTR and Punk, it's like honoring Bret Hart, honoring Bret Hart, Punk with the pink shorts, Owen Hart Classic. It's like, all right, we get it. You want to like spit in the face of WWE while honoring this guy. Okay, great. But like, just calm. Like,
do you think that stuff bothers WWE?
It's no disrespect to Owen Hart. I know he's a legend and he deserves to be honored, but like it's overboard at this point.
Do you think that stuff bothers WWE?
The winners each got a belt. So what are they going to just hold the belt for a year until the next tournament?
Yeah, they're not defending it.
The belt.
Yeah. Do you think that stuff bothers WWE? Because like, I mean, those guys didn't wrestle for AEW. It's like you're taking our guy, and I mean, and Owen Hart never wrestled for WCW. I mean, obviously Bret did, but it's like you're taking our guys and you're. You know, as if they have anything to do with it. And also David
Benoit was ringside.
Oh, is that right? I didn't see that.
Yeah. And Punk went over and hugged him. Like, it's a weird thing that they're doing. Not that, again, David Benoit deserves to be able to live his life.
Yeah,
it's not his fault.
He didn't do anything. It's still weird. He didn't do anything wrong, but it's still weird.
But he wouldn't be ringside at a WWE event and they wouldn't show him. Wouldn't show him.
Right.
But I guess if it
and by the way, I don't have a problem with them not showing him either. You know,
yeah, I mean,
live your life, but
yeah. I don't think if WWE cared, they would do it, and they would do it better. To be honest, I mean, if WWE was concerned with the fact that AEW is honoring Owen Hart, then they would honor Owen Hart. I think.
Well, no. I don't agree with that. I think they probably have wanted to Owen Hart. The wife is adamantly against.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they could still honor him. They could do something to honor him. It doesn't. They still. I mean, he's still a WWE guy. Like, they could still do whatever they want. She just could come out and say she doesn't support it, but they can.
I mean, like that is the reason why he's not in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because of the wife.
Yeah, and because it'll be a whole stink, and it's like, man, like we don't want this.
I do also think, like, on some level, WWE probably doesn't want to like have like this whole like continuously revisit like the biggest tragedy that's ever happened in their company. Not. Benoit wasn't really in the company, right? That was a different thing. But like maybe the biggest tragedy that's ever happened in the history of professional wrestling at a wrestling show.
Oh, right? Yeah.
Or almost certainly.
I
don't want to just constantly have to revisit it, because if you're WWE, if you honor Owen Hart, you also have to like sort of continuously acknowledge that this happened at your show.
Yeah, but at the
Whereas
same
if you're
time,
AEW, it's like, it didn't happen at our show.
Yeah, but at the same time, if WWE had it their way, he would be in their Hall of Fame. Like they would do we'll rehash this tonight if it means honoring him.
How can she keep him out of the Hall of Fame? Why can't they just put him in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, they can, but I think they don't want to do it where it's like the family isn't on board. Like they probably don't want to be, we're honoring Owen Hart here, but his family's not even here because they hate us and they don't agree with this. Like, it's not worth it, They definitely want him in their Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway.
Shout out Willow. Good for her.
So, Dynamite, though, what did you make of Nick Wayne, man? I don't know much of the backstory outside of the vignettes that they showed the weeks leading up to it. I thought the vignettes were good. They were able to catch me up on the story here and what's going on. So, like, I was looking forward to the match. And I could also say, by the way, Swerve Strickland, I really dig Swerve Strickland's gimmick.
He's awesome.
Yeah, like he's totally leaned into it where he's just this thugged out rapper, and yes, there have obviously been the hip hop / rapper gimmicks. Okay. Like R-Truth has got a little bit of that to him, but like the totally thugged out hip hop.
I think he has an album. I think he actually raps.
Yeah, he does. No, he does. But like that totally thugged out gimmick, I don't remember really ever seeing anything like that. Like I like it. I dig what he's doing, man. I think it's cool.
I mean, I think Swerve's awesome. I think he probably deserves to be in bigger programs than what he's been in so far in AEW, if I'm being honest. Nick Wayne, look, he's good. Obviously,
Yeah, it was fine. It was a lot
like,
of flippy shit. I mean, it is what it is.
He's 18 years old. I guess that's why it's impressive. He just
Yeah.
graduated high school or whatever.
Yeah.
But look, if you bring a kid in who is athletic and pretty good, and you put him with one of the best wrestlers on the roster, he's going to look pretty good.
Well, and they've apparently wrestled 100 times.
Right. Yeah, they wrestled like on for an indie title like not long ago. So, but yeah, I mean, it's fine. I don't know much about him either. So, we'll see. He's so young. I mean, it's like, I guess that's cool.
Match was fun, but there's not like, I don't look at him. There's something that differentiates him from every other flippy guy that's out there.
Can he talk? I mean, ultimately, if he can't talk, then exactly. He might as well just be every other guy doing high spots.
And again, he's only 18. In 5 years from now, he may be the best flippy shit guy on the planet. We'll see.
Right.
But right now, like, there's 1,000 guys just like him.
Right. You know? For sure.
Yeah. Blood and Guts teams were announced. I know you knew it was going to be, or at least you figured it was going to be Kota Ibushi. Did you figure that Pac was going to be involved in this at all?
No, but I love it. I mean, I love Pac. Everything he's done. Even I loved him when he was Neville. I mean, I think he's awesome. And he's one of the best wrestlers on the planet. He has a history with Kenny Omega.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
He has a history there. And this is a great match for him because he can do all kinds of crazy shit. So, good.
And that's Wednesday night.
That's Wednesday night. And then Kota Ibushi will be in it. So, yeah, I mean, that'll be a fun match. It'll be a fun match.
All right.
I'm excited I was excited that it was Pac because there was a little part of me that thought it was going to be Jericho with the whole Don Callis thing.
And it's all at once, right? Like it's 10 guys immediately.
I think so. It's not like War Games, I don't think, where I think they all just start in there and
is there a roof on the yeah, okay.
I think so. In that respect, I think it's like War Games, but I don't think it's like where two guys start and then there's like cages and they come in every few minutes.
Yeah.
But what's Jon Moxley going to do now that he can't intentionally bleed?
Okay, so let's talk about this because this got a lot of attention a few days ago on the internet. I guess someone got a hold of AEW's.
I think it was Observer. They put out a report saying this was happening, and then slowly things started getting released.
So there's a new banned moves list on this list. There's moves that need to be approved list.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
That kind of deal.
Yeah. Some of them are permanently banned, and some of them have to be approved by like higher ups. But it's a big list.
Yeah. Now why? I mean, why did it get so much attention? Like, how it can't possibly surprise people that there's a banned moves list. I mean, we know WWE has had a banned moves list for decades now. Like, why was it such a big deal? Why was everyone talking about this? And like, as if it was a shocker.
Because like half of this, like, I feel like with AEW, like half of their matches are just now going to be fundamentally different. Like, there's so many things that they can't do now that they do.
Well, why are they instituting this?
Probably, I feel like there's probably, if I had to guess, there's probably some backlash to people bleeding constantly on national television, like constantly bleeding, and like
right before Blood and Guts. I mean, go tune in Wednesday night.
But like also very blatantly, intentionally cutting themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's clips out there of Moxley where you can just see him take the blade and cut his forehead. Like it's gross.
Yep.
That should not be allowed. And then I bet there was backlash with Sting. Like they don't want to see a 65-year-old kill himself on national TV.
But a lot of those moves, it's not just you can't do it. It's you need to get approval and you need to tell the referees in advance, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, well, that's some of it. Like if you're going to hit a referee, if you're going to do a spot with a referee and like bump, and the referee's going to take a bump, you have to like get approval.
You know, one of them I thought was interesting were any moves that are taking place on the outside part of the apron, which happen all the time.
Yeah.
Those need to be like approved in advance.
The one other thing I would like to see them do, which I know they're not going to do it because that's like sort of one of the core things of this company is maybe let's not have like the top guys in our company go to AAA and fight in like a 30-minute match 3 days before Blood and Guts. Like Kenny Omega fought El Hijo de Vikingo last night. And like, you know how that guy worked? Like, I'm sure there was multiple spots in that match where Kenny could have got hurt and it ruins Wednesday's match. Like,
right.
Maybe let's just chill out on having our top guys work these indies when we need them for these big matches. But
when those, I guess when those banned moves list stuff is leaked on the internet, there is a part of me that's kind of like, there is a portion of the internet wrestling community that just loves to bust on AEW. Yeah. And I think that right there is just like, I think the main reason it got all the attention was, I think that's just like a really good excuse for everybody to bust on AEW, when the fact of the matter is pretty normal what we just saw right there with all that stuff. I mean, it was a long list, but it's pretty normal what's going on there. Like doesn't everybody scream about being safe? I mean, the outcry, over Kenny Omega landed on his head with the Will Ospreay.
AEW has injuries constantly. Like, it's all the time. The top guys too. So there's probably part of them that's like, all right, we got to figure this out, because like Bryan Danielson can't fight in blood and guts because he broke his arm. I don't know if it was because of something he did in a match, but still, like, it seems like their top guys are getting hurt on a regular basis. So they got to do something.
Yeah, and I don't remember. I mean, look, it was a different game back then, of course, but guys weren't getting hurt back in the day the way they are now.
Oh,
there's just so much, a lot of risks being taken in that ring on a weekly basis.
I mean, even in WWE, there's times where I'm like, you could, like, when you throw somebody over the announce table and they land on the chairs, like, there's a 50-50 shot that they're going to have a serious injury there. There's not exactly a safe way to land when they're doing that. Yeah, there's no trained way to land on chairs like that, and your arm could get wrapped up. Like, there's a lot of stuff, and that stuff didn't happen back in the day.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't know.
You got anything else on AEW here from this week? Because we got a few things from WWE.
I mean, MJF and Adam Cole, they're winning the tag. They're winning that.
Look, I love that story. It's fun. But the thing that I got to point out is, so Adam Cole's a moron, right? Because everybody in the world knows what the end game is going to end up being here. But you got Adam Cole, and I get it, all right? You got to suspend some disbelief. And Adam Cole is telling his good buddy, Roderick Strong, it's okay, he's a good guy. I'm telling you, you got to trust me. Like, Adam Cole's a moron. That's what I've gathered from this story. It's a fun thing. I'm enjoying it, but Adam Cole's a moron.
Yeah, there's that, but there's also, like, I think they're going to win the tag titles. So he could be a moron, but if it leads to them being champions, then isn't that fine?
I guess.
Like,
okay, all right. So there's a means to an end.
Yeah, I mean, he's buying in so he can win a title.
Okay, all right.
That's the way I'm choosing to look at it. That's the way I'm suspending disbelief. I think they're going to win the tag titles.
Oh, and is that on Wednesday?
No, Wednesday's the finals of the tournament.
Yeah. Oh, and then they get to be the number one contender.
And then they're the number one contenders.
Wow, you think they're going to beat FTR?
I do.
Okay.
I don't know why. There's something about this storyline. I think they're going to really continue to push it.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, people love it. So, they're going to continue pushing it.
Yeah, they got something. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's start out on Raw as far as WWE is concerned. I don't have a whole lot. I didn't think, look, Raw was fine. I didn't think there was anything earth-shattering there, but I thought Miz and Tommaso Ciampa was awesome. I loved that match. I thought it was great. I loved the ending, man. I mean, it was Tommaso Ciampa kicking the shit out of him the whole time. Match was super violent. You had a lot of extracurricular activity going on there. And it was like, I forgot. Oh, yeah, that's right. Like, Bronson Reed has worked for Miz in the past. So clearly he hired him again. And now we're going to get a Bronson Reed Ciampa feud, most likely, which I'm sure will be really fun. But I dug it. Like, Ciampa, I thought looked awesome. Miz still comes out with the win, which is cool because it feels like he never wins anymore. And for me, that was the highlight of Raw. I thought Ciampa and Miz was awesome.
Yeah, it was really good. And I think this feels like, like the oldest, like, writing, like structure for a reunion in the book. I think Ciampa just keeps losing to Bronson Reed and Miz, and they keep helping each other. And then
eventually we're going to get a tag match.
Gargano saves him and DIY gets back together. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like, that's where this is probably headed. Right.
Yeah.
Which is great. DIY is awesome. If they're not going to push Ciampa to like a belt feud quickly, I'm happy to see him, to see DIY, especially because, like, as good as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are, there's not really a whole lot going on with the tag like picture right now.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
it'll be nice to have like
Totally
a real
agree.
tag team to get into that mix.
Totally agree. SmackDown from a couple nights ago. What did you make of new Shotzi? I loved it. I thought the promo was really cool. And I got to give a lot of credit to her, man, because it's one of those deals where, yeah, I'm going to shave my head on live. I mean, I know that I'm sure the package was taped, but she's doing it live to tape. She is shaving her head while they are recording, which is always interesting to me. I loved what they did there with Shotzi. It was unexpected. I thought it was cool.
I thought the reason that she did it was pretty incredible. Her sister has cancer, so she did it in solidarity with her.
I didn't know that.
Going through chemo. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So that's why she did it. As far as like the actual character change, it's cool. Like she needs something because like what she's done so far on the main roster has not really moved me in any way. So maybe this, maybe bald Shotzi.
I've always hated the Tank, so I would imagine this means that she ditches the Tank. I've never liked the Tank.
I mean, if this turns her into some kind of like dark, like like angry character, which it seems like it will, that'll be fun because
I like that
with the tattoos and the makeup and the way she already looks. She probably should be a heel.
So she had a very short run as a heel, like 6-8 months ago, and then out of nowhere they turned her back.
Yeah.
So I dug that. You had a very short. Okay, so explain to me here what we have going on with the U.S. title. They're clearly setting up for Austin Theory to lose the U.S. title at SummerSlam. I think we're all hoping it's going to be LA Knight. So what's happening here? Like you had Santos.
I think they pretty much gave that away on SmackDown, right? Like,
well, you had Santos Escobar. He is advanced, and LA Knight is going to be in a fatal 4-way coming up next week. So does the winner of that, is it then going to be a 3-way at SummerSlam? Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's a tournament. It's like an eliminator. So the winner, like LA Knight fights Santos, assuming LA Knight
if he wins the 4-way, okay.
Yeah, then they fight, and the winner of that fights Theory.
At SummerSlam?
No, I don't think it's going to be at SummerSlam.
Really?
I thought they said on SmackDown like 2 or 3 weeks from now.
All right. Well, I think we're all hoping it's going to be LA Knight.
Well, I mean, the way they brought him out, like they did, everyone got backstage promos, and then they brought out LA Knight to do his promo. So it seems like they know what they.
I know people are like, in last week at Madison Square Garden, oh, he's the hottest guy, most views, most clicks on social media, and you had him come out with a dark segment. I got to be honest. I think they're playing it the right way with LA Knight. They're making sure he's not overexposed. You're getting little snippets here. The crowd is continually wanting more and more and more. It's like, oh man, they're only giving us little nuggets. I want a big thing, so that when the big thing does happen, it's going to be really big. I like the way they've handled it.
People got to understand where it's a different era too. Like just because, like, he wasn't on the show, he wasn't on TV. 4 million people or something like that watch that clip on social media.
Totally.
Way more people are consuming that clip on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube than will ever consume it live. So that doesn't mean that they failed him. If anything, because of the reaction that he got and because of how good the segment was, they pushed the hell out of it on social media, and he gets way more buzz. And now all you guys are talking about, why aren't they pushing him? Look how over he is. Well, they did.
Yeah.
They just didn't do it.
And it's coming.
How many people watch live TV anymore? Even on a Friday night, it's just, you're not getting those numbers like you're getting on social.
Yeah, I really like the way they've handled it. We're getting small doses, so you're getting huge pops. People are really into it. And you're going to wind up getting the big moment. I like how they've handled it. We're clearly getting new Hurt Business. Yeah, Street Profits. Lashley.
Seems like it. That'll be,
but it's got to be as heels, right? Like they didn't show MVP, but you got to figure MVP was in that limo.
I love the idea of Street Profits being heels.
Yeah,
they need something.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yeah,
they need to change it up. Montez Ford became too much of a goofball. They need to get serious. I like it. I'm good with that. I like it a lot.
I wonder though how they establish themselves as heel. Like maybe they take the belts off of Owens and Zayn, because that kind of helps you establish, all right, we're heels now. I wonder how they wind up establishing that.
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, I dig it. The Asuka, Bianca, Charlotte situation is playing out exactly the way that we all knew it would. Last week, you had Bianca interfere when Charlotte had her title match. This week, you have Charlotte interfere when it's the other way around. We're going to get a triple threat at SummerSlam. Ultimately, I think it's a triple threat that Asuka winds up winning. It seems like they're hell-bent on finally Asuka getting like a big-time badass run as champion. I think it probably ends at some point with Io cashing in on her. Although look, it may end up with Io looking like she's about to cash in and accidentally Bayley fucks it up and Io fails at the cash in. And then you get the whole Io Bayley thing. But ultimately, Asuka, I think, is going to have this belt for a while. I think we are clearly setting up, though. I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. We're getting Charlotte Bianca at WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably.
That's the play.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking was, like, what if Bayley just cashes it in herself and just says, like, I have it. It's mine. And she's just like, what if she does?
Yeah, like, but they can't set up a match, though.
But what if there is like a scenario like the other night where everyone's just knocked out and Bayley's just standing there with the briefcase and she's just like,
but the referee won't set up the match because she doesn't have the contract.
What if she's just like, I'm holding the briefcase. It's my contract. What if
her name is supposed to be on the contract.
I know, but I just like, again, that popped in my head where I was like, that would be kind of funny. It would kind of diminish what the whole thing is about, but it would be kind of funny.
Or what if at some point, like Bayley is fighting Asuka for the title, both of them are knocked down, Io tries to cash in there, so it becomes a 3-way, and Bayley still wins.
Yeah, something like that too. Could be something like that too.
Yeah, I could see a scenario more likely where Io doesn't cash in, and she has the cash in fucked up, maybe inadvertently by Bayley. I could see that. I could see her failing with the cash in. But ultimately, all of this is leading to WrestleMania with Bianca chasing Charlotte.
Yeah, and I just need a few months of Io and Asuka screaming at each other in Japanese. I just need to have that for a while before they fuck up the cash in, because that's my favorite part of this whole thing.
Jey Uso is true or false? Jey Uso is the biggest babyface in the company right now.
Yeah, well, it's always whoever's going against Roman, right? That's how it works.
But man, he is such a star now, dude.
Yeah, but nobody was bigger than Sammy, and nobody was bigger than Cody, and now nobody's bigger than Jay.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's kind of how it works. Which is why I still think he's going to lose at SummerSlam, because this has been like rinse and repeat in a good way, but it's kind of how it's been.
The one thing I didn't like about that segment, you know, when it looked like when Solo was out the ring, Jay threw him out. Jay turns around. Paul is in the corner. And it's like, oh, nice. Jay's going to get his hands on Paul. And then Solo came in and broke it up. I said to something, I'm like, that's a cool thing for all of us to look forward to. Like, are we going to get that moment at SummerSlam where Jay finally gets his hands on Paul Heyman? But then we got it like a couple minutes later. Yeah. And Jay did the super kick. And it's like, oh, we could have dragged that moment out. Like I thought it'd have been perfect if we're waiting for Jay to get his hands on him. And it finally happens like in a stadium in SummerSlam. I was stunned that they did it on Friday night.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I didn't really think about
that. Feels like a monster moment. And they gave it away to us.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was still a cool moment. But
it was cool, but it could have been so much bigger.
Yeah, it could still happen again. I mean, they could still figure out.
I think it's going to happen again. Yeah, but instead of me hoping for 2 minutes, like they made me wait 2 minutes for Jay to get his hands on Paul when they really should have made me wait like 3 weeks.
Yeah. 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 I will say, I don't know if you noticed this, but the one thing that really stuck out to me in that segment was the way Solo asked for the microphone. He did the same thing as Roman.
Oh, okay.
He just put his hand out.
Like, and the week before, remember, he covered the mic when Paul was talking.
But that's what Roman does. That's Roman's thing.
No, that's on purpose, man. That's on purpose.
Yeah. So I think they're teasing that out too, right? Which also leads me to think Jay's not winning. But
I don't necessarily believe that. If Roman's ever. Like if Roman doesn't lose the belt to Jay, is he never losing the belt?
I mean, maybe he loses it to Cody eventually. He finally finishes the story, but I don't know.
Oh, Jay looks like a big time star to me, man.
He does, but I just wonder. You know, like I was looking back at like historic reigns and like streaks and stuff. Like Jay looks like a big star right now, but isn't that his proximity to Roman? Like, if he beats Roman, Jey Uso, I love Jey and I love what he's doing right now. Is Jey Uso the face of WWE? Is Jey Uso the guy who carries the belt and carries the company and ends this streak? I understand that for the storyline purpose, it's a beautiful way to end the story, but also like, you know, he's not that big of a star.
Yeah,
He's
but
a
it
big
doesn't
star
have to
because of
be
his proximity to the story.
It doesn't have to be this Roman Reigns 3-year reign. He could lose the belt the next month, right back to Roman, you know?
Sure, that's true. That's true. I feel like when he finally loses, it's going to be to somebody that's just like massive, and Jay's not that.
Right,
maybe
Cody would have been that guy.
Maybe this makes him that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I obviously I could be wrong, but
I think Jay's got a legit shot at winning at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
I think he's got a legit shot. Yeah, that was really all I got from this week. We leave anything else?
Well, I have one thing I want to throw out real quick before we wrap up. So Chelsea and Sonya are the number one contenders.
Yeah, I like
tag titles. And I don't know if you caught that backstage segment where Rhea and Raquel were sort of, face to face. And who comes up behind them? Who comes up behind Rhea? Chelsea and Sonya.
Yeah.
And they say, we. And then Rhea's like, we. And they walk away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to put this out there into the world. First of all, I think they're winning the tag titles. And then I think it's going to be Raquel and Rhea for the title at SummerSlam or whatever. I know people don't want Judgment Day to break up. But if it does, which is they've sort of teased out a little the dissension, Rhea being the leader of a faction where she's just like the badass and you got the two clowns behind her, Sonya and Chelsea, that would be an incredible women's faction.
The two clowns.
I would love, Sonya's not a clown, but the whole gimmick is her and Chelsea's, whatever. But like the serious Rhea and like the not serious Chelsea and Sonya, and they all have gold. Like Rhea has the title, they have that would be a cool faction.
I'll tell you. I mean,
and it would make Rhea like more relevant because right now I know she's a champion, but she's just not relevant. Like she's not doing a whole lot other than being Dom's, valet.
I'll tell you, I know there's a health situation that's gone on, which is why Carmella, left that tag with Sonya and they essentially replaced it with Chelsea Green. But man, did that work out? Like Chelsea and Sonya have been such a good duo.
I would put the belts on them and I would keep it on them for a long time.
And both of them can wrestle. You're right. They got a little bit of a clown gimmick going on, but both of them can totally wrestle.
Yeah, no, they're really good. I would love. I think they got to do something here because it seems like Raquel is next for Rhea. So yeah. I mean, I guess her losing the title would make the most sense.
Yeah. Good job, Joey. I know for people listening, Joey's a little bit under the weather, so he's powered through today's episode. We got another fun week, of course, coming up. We have wrestling. It's like every single night. Every night there's wrestling. Every single night. It's really 5 out of 7 nights a week, right? You got the major promotions. Amazing. And what a time to be alive.
6 when AEW has a pay-per-view.
Joey, tell all your fans that you'll talk to them next week. You'll miss them so much the next few days.
I'll miss you guys. Hopefully I sound a little better for you next week.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll talk to you next week on another edition of It's Still Real to Me.